it's really frustrating. But if you can't work through those fears, then certainly don't waste your time. Go do something else that makes sense for you. But at the same time, know that you can break down those fears so you can move forward if you're willing to do the work. But you do have to do the work. And I think that the book is best equipped for those people who are the go-getters that are ready to take action and just want that tactical advice. So many people say they're willing to go after something, but they don't do the work to do it. They just talk about it. And that's just not in my nature. If I have the intention of doing something, I do everything in my power to do it as quickly as possible because I want to know if I can do it. And so I think that's what I wanted to deliver with this book. If you believe you can do it with video blogging, if you believe you can crush it online and make this happen for you, then here are the steps to do that. Go do that and do them 100 million times because it's going to take work to get there.
Yeah, you definitely do that in the book. And I'm not going to give away the content of the book because I want people to read it and purchase it.
Yes, so do I. Thank you.
And I do have a couple of questions. Your first video was you essentially trying to be the best bridesmaid at a wedding of a friend, and that's kind of what got you interested in video. So I was wondering, how did you pivot from going to a thematic content to a more personalized content?
So, well, because that bridesmaid situation and sort of my roots on YouTube started very personally. I discovered with that video what I could do with the power of video storytelling, and I wanted to do that more. So I found YouTube and I thought, okay, I need to make some video things happen so I can have something cool to edit and put it here. And so that's how I started sharing my life online because there really wasn't a whole lot else for me to work with. So it really started personal. And if you can tell a story around a normal day of your life and people find it interesting, then you pretty much tell a story about anything. So because my journey started fairly personally and life casting with the types of vlogs that I did on the Schmatastic channel at the beginning, that's what led me to be able to get really skilled in how I could develop a story for companies. And that's why they were asking me for help in 2009 and 2010. So with that, you know, I started working with them. I started getting experienced in marketing and trying to figure out how I can best help them storytell. That experience led me to start my own business and go full time into that in 2011, which required that I go and have this specific platform for that thought leadership and start teaching these things. So that's how Savvy Sexy Social started. With that being the platform, I wanted to be very focused on camera. It wasn't going to be like, this is what's happening in my life, because the people that would be watching this particular channel didn't know me and about my life. They simply needed to learn things about marketing tips, and I wanted to be discovered by them. So that's how these sort of structured, themed videos started with Savvy Sexy Social. And after 5 years of that, people start to want to know more about you, especially when you're growing and nurturing a community. They want to know more about you personally. So that's why in the last couple of months, specifically January of 2017, it's been very personal because I'm letting people in on a journey that I don't have experience in, like launching a book. This is my first book. I wanted people to see what that was like. I wanted them to see what it was like for me to be doing that with marketing experience, but not publishing experience. Where do these things collide together? What could I understand? What was I still learning and working on? So that's pretty much how it all worked. The big picture here, though, is when you are changing up the type of content you post somewhere, it doesn't matter what direction you go or what that is. You still have to make good on the promise that you made from the very beginning of starting that channel. And so if you do that, no matter what the channel is, it doesn't have to be YouTube. It could be Facebook or Snapchat. If you still make good on that promise, then your audience is still going to appreciate the content. You still watched every episode of maybe a live cast of how this whole book launch thing was happening, but you learned something from me because that's the promise I made. You're going to have a good time and you're going to have something tactical to take away from this to go do on your own. That's the promise of my channel. So that could not go away just because I was going to show you behind the scenes look. You should get that experience, but still get the same takeaways. So when someone's thinking, I think I want to pivot content or maybe change it up or do a hybrid model or something like that, remember what the original promise is of that presence. And that's really what your video brand is. If you stay true to that, it doesn't matter what the pivot in content is. Your audience is going to love it, especially because it keeps them guessing and it keeps them excited to come back.
Awesome. Yeah, I watched every one of those January videos.
Oh,
Every
and we
single
saw all
one.
your comments and we just so appreciate you, David. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes I can make the whole hour of the broadcast, but you would post it while I'm at work, so I'd be off work. And just the other day, I was like, she's not putting anything up. I got addicted to it. So one of the things that your book points out and discusses at length, which I think are kind of universal for people that are starting anything new, are the three fears.
Mm-hmm.
And do I have permission to go over those three?
Absolutely. Let's do
Just
it.
making sure.
Of course.
First one, fear of gear. Now, I have a photography background, so I know all about the fear of gear.
Yeah.
But basically, it's where we're worried that our equipment is not on par for what we want to do. And I know you struggle with that. How do you overcome it, or have you overcome it?
I think I struggle with it a little bit, but from the perspective of, I know that no matter what, the best video that I can make is with the gear that I have right now. And so the ultimate message here for everyone, especially in 2017, is rather than have the fear of gear, like whatever you have access to or could purchase isn't quite good enough, decide that it is. Because if you have access to a tool that lets you make video, then you're doing pretty good. Today in 2017, we have smartphones. When I was starting, phones weren't as smart. They certainly didn't have HD video. And a lot of people can be talented videographers and photographers with a phone, as crazy as that sounds. And I'm sure many videographers and photographers would cringe at hearing that. But the reality is those professionals know how to work those cameras really well, while we know how to work our phones really well. So why not use the tool that we know how to? And the one that's already in our pocket, the one that we already paid for, and we don't have to go enhance the gear situation before we get started. So I encourage people to start with what they have, because that's what I did. I happened to have a Canon PowerShot when I wanted to make that video for the bride. And I thought, oh, wow, this is cool. It has a video option on it. I didn't even know that because I just take vacation photos with this camera. And I used what I had. And so I think you should do that, because we have a really incredible tool in our pocket. And that's all it takes to start creating video. You can have an incredible video presence with nothing but mobile video on Snapchat or Instagram or even Facebook Live or something of that effect. You don't have to do the produced video on YouTube. So that's the fear of gear. The message is really just use what you have, because the reason why I'll ever have a fear of gear now is simply because I'm executing and doing so much that I'm like, every single time I film this video, I need this thing that I don't have. I need that thing. I need that thing. I'm going to make myself need that thing a number of times before I spend the money to buy it, because simply making the impulse decision to buy a piece of equipment makes no sense. But if you execute and practice and publish and publish and publish and publish with the stuff that you have now, when that tool comes up that's going to make your life better and executing more regularly and efficiently, it makes sense to buy it, because you're going to make every dollar worth it then. A lot of people on the flip side will go and buy gear and then not use it, or not know how to use it properly, and then just sits there and collects dust. And we don't need that either. As much as we want to keep the economy moving, I would much rather you have money in your pocket to do the best things to promote your brand. And I don't want you to waste money on tools that you won't use. So I think the fear of gear comes down to that.
And I just want to mention there is a halfway point. If you're curious about new gear, if you absolutely have to try it, I highly recommend a site called borrowlenses.com. They allow you to rent photographic and video and lighting equipment. So
Great
you can
idea.
try it out for a week. I actually photographed a musician and a concert with gear rented. And, so I got to try all the great lenses that I can not afford
Yep.
and create a great product. And it actually educated me on, what do I really need? So that, what I thought I needed, I really didn't. And so that made my search a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. So I highly recommend them. I had a great experience with them.
That's a great recommendation. A lot of people don't consider borrowing, and that's an incredible way to find out what you really need. And if you even know how to use it, or if you need some education on it, if you just need some hands-on time with it before you go and make the purchase decision.
Yeah, and don't overlook your local community college. They usually have a class or two. So
Absolutely.
probably, $30, you could go take a quick course and learn fundamentals, and, there's always options available.
Mm-hmm.
So the second fear is fear of personality. This is something that I personally have battled. I was born with a cleft lip and palate, and I went through up to college with a severe underbite, and I'm short. there were days that I'm like, what gives? One or the other, please. But 5 surgeries later, I got this, and I still deal with the mental aspects of it, because it was part of me for such a long time that it still affects me. But a lot of viewers, a lot of people think there's always an excuse for why you don't get started. My voice is weird. I'm too short. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not flamboyant enough. I don't have the jazz hands that go with it. And is that really important?
No, not at all. And I want to say that it's so great that you're sharing that story here, because you're such a fine example of someone that's not letting it get in the way. But it doesn't even matter what anyone's story is. Everyone's got a story in the back of their head of why their personality isn't good enough. Like, I wasn't popular in high school, so I just assumed that I'm just not fun to be around. It's just something that is ingrained in me. I try to do the opposite and be fun, but I also feel like I want to fit in. That's just something that's stuck with me forever. So there's always a personality quirk I think you have to work with.
If you took people to Ireland, you would be a lot more popular.
I know, it's so true. That's all I got. That's all it is.
I'm sorry. But I'm a big jokester. Just ask Vicky. I'm always eager to crack up on her broadcast.
That's all I could ask.
I went through a lot of negative emotion when I was younger, and finally one day I just got sick of it. I'm like, you know what? It takes just as much energy to be positive, to have that positive mindset. And
I think it actually takes more energy to be positive.
Of that. I can do it.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. Even if it takes more or less or the same amount of energy to be positive, it just is the better option every time. Because when you are negative, you make things happen to you. When you're positive, you make things happen to you. And it's usually of the same genre. But if the opposite happens, at least you can bounce back from it. In terms of this personality conversation, you can be nervous about your personality. You can be nervous about who you are. You can be nervous about how you'll be received. And that's okay. That's acceptable. That's human. But if you think that your message is important then are you really going to allow something that's maybe not directly correlated to that, like your personality, the only one you get, the only one you really need? Are you going to let that get in the way of your message not getting out? I think that's where the people who are positive to the point of not being held back are the reason why the reason why they become so big and important to people is because they don't let things that are superficial hold them back from getting their message out there. I have a ton of flack just for as many reasons as you can think of, not even my personality, as to why I shouldn't be talking about the things that I do talk about, but I don't care because I know that for every one person that might tell me I shouldn't be who I am or talk about what I talk about, there's 50 people who are so grateful for it. You're always going to have haters. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter. You're going to have haters. You're going to have positive people. You're going to have all these people. Everyone's opinion matters because they're all helping you rise up.
Yes. Just FYI, since I know you're looking at a green screen behind me, I have your bookcase in the background.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we look like we're in the same room.
That's awesome. How cool.
That's why I had to go through 42 videos.
There you go. Oh my God, that is so crazy. Did you really?
Yes.
That's insane. How fun.
Yes. So the third is the fear of return on investment. And that I think is universal with anyone who starts a venture.
Yes.
And I'm going to put all this energy, all this, whether it's financial, physical, emotional, you make a big investment into a dream. And that fear, is it going to work out?
This is a good one because it means you're considering time and money and resources, and that's super, super important. But it's really hard to say in 2017 that video is not worth it. It just is. We have a lot of visual learners out there, and they're using Google and YouTube to find out how to do things. And that's the power of YouTube and video. We also have how many billions of people on Facebook? I mean, it's a lot of people hanging out there. And Facebook wants more video because the users like video. So leveraging video is kind of a no-brainer at this point. But that being said, if you're really worried about ROI and it's something you truly question, that's usually worked out when you actually do the math. I mean, if it comes down to what do we need to happen in order to publish a video, then work out what that looks like. And then how do you figure out how to make that happen? So I'll give you an example. I was never measuring success based on YouTube subscribers. I've always measured success based on how many leads into my business I have and how many clients I was getting. So that's why I started the channel at the beginning of launching my business. When I started getting clients by people finding my content, that's direct ROI. I make a tutorial. I advise you on how to help you. I show up in search. You find me. You get results. You call me because you want to work with me. That is ROI, period. Just do the math. How much are they paying you? How much time and resources did you spend? Are you getting return on that? Because I was able to figure that out, that's what makes the vanity numbers not matter so much. And the vanity numbers aren't going to do much for you for ROI either. People get into trouble where they just think the numbers are just going to be astronomical, that they don't even have to measure them at all. And that's a terrible idea. You should be measuring everything. And it's just laziness if you think you can't. The internet has so many different ways to do that. So ROI is absolutely a fear worth breaking down.
Yeah, and if you want to work with Amy, go to savvysexysocial.com. I'm going to transition to the website in just a second.
Perfect.
I have a microphone blocking my laptop. So. Okay, so there we are. We're showing Savvy Sexy Social. We got the Vlog Like a Boss anthem up top, which was awesome video.
Thank you.
And it made me crack up. And because I was actually having lunch with all my coworkers. And so all of a sudden my phone just starts blasting this song. And I'm like,
Yeah.
David, what are you looking at?
Oh my gosh. I bet that was quite the conversation.
Oh, yes. Yes. I got to talk all about you.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, let's see what else do I have here. So, why do you vlog, Amy?
I vlog because I believe that people can take control of their life and make a difference if they really want to and if they want to do the work. And I feel that I have learned quite a few things about that arena and I want to teach people how to do that. So that's why I vlog. If I get to share a little piece of my life in turn, then I will. But I don't even find as much purpose in that as I do in teaching. So when I do share my life, because I don't want to live in front of the camera all the time, I'm very purposeful with what I share so that every single thing that I do share matters to someone because they can do something to make their life a little bit better by watching me. It's not the average entertainment. It's very much edutainment.
Yeah, your content is beyond amazing.
Thank you.
Really, it's, there's some people that they try to oversell it. They promise you like, oh, there's a guy on Periscope. I'm not going to name names because I don't believe in outing people.
That's nice.
But he would go onto Periscope and just say, "Oh, I quit my job, 6 months ago. Now I make all this money." Blah blah blah. And it's like, seriously, dude, weren't you on Instagram saying that, 2 weeks ago? And one of the things I like about Amy's content is that it's very, very practical. It's able to be implemented. This show is proof of that because I watched the how to get what's it called? How to get experience when you have none. And after watching that video, I'm like, oh, that's great. I should try that. In fact, I'm going to try it on Amy. And we're having internet connection issues, and so we're going to have to cut it short.
Oh, I think I brought it back. It's better now.
Okay, we're good still.
Okay, I think it's good.
Because I got a message on my computer saying internet connection is unstable.
Yeah, I got it too, but I think it's good now.
Okay. So I said I'm giving away 2 books, and I am. So I'm going to transition. I'm going to pin this to my Twitter feed. You can find me at DaveGongs2012. And so this is giving away 2 copies of Blog Like a Boss to 2 separate winners. And there are 5 ways to enter. Each method has various amount of entries that you get. Top is to subscribe to her YouTube channel, Savvy Sexy Social. You can also follow her on Twitter. You can visit her website, Savvy Sexy Social. You can refer friends, and there's a video about productivity hacks that is really good. So if you go through all 5 of those methods, you will have a lot of entries to win a copy of the book. And I'm actually going to run it for a whole week, so you don't have to do it today. Because I know some people are tuning in from work, and I want to give everyone plenty of availability to go ahead and be a part of this. And I will reveal the winners at the end of next week's show with my guest, Vicky Fitch. And that will be at the normal time of 6 p.m. Pacific time. And today was special because I wanted to allow Amy to not have to be up till midnight. And
thank you.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you so much, Amy. You really helped me. You don't know how much. And Yeah, yeah, that's it. You know, you're a very
David,
inspirational
I
person.
want to thank you. I want to thank you because you don't know how much. Honestly, I so appreciate you, and the reason why I'm still doing this and have a book at all is because people like you who are absolutely amazing and tune in and lift me up and tell me what you want and keep things interesting. And I don't think I would still have my own business if I didn't have such an incredible community who not only needed the help but who support me. And I think the people that support others, such as yourself, the way that you've supported me, the way you've lifted me up, are the ones who are going to come out on top every time
Oh, you
for each other.
froze.
And I really appreciate you. What's that?
You just froze.
Oh no!
Oh well.
That's such a bummer.
Yeah, so I want to say
I'm
thank you
sorry.
for everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for watching the replay. I know it was a little weird having this on so early in the day, but thank you again for coming in. And again, don't be afraid to be savvy, sexy, social. Thank you so much. And